Hello everyone, today is June 1st, which is my birthday. I am down here in Virginia and going to be targeting some salamander species today. Basically all of them will be lifers for me down here since I've never really herped in Virginia. Heading down to North Carolina, we might make it there by this evening. But at my first spot is a good spot for southern two lines, which I've never seen. And I think there's black-bellied salamanders here, which is also a species I've never seen. So I'm gonna be working this stream side behind me and flipping some rocks and seeing what we can find. First salamander is this, what I believe is a seal salamander, just a young one, flipped underneath a rock. Pretty sure it's a seal. I'm pretty positive seals make it down here. The one thing I forgot on this vacation that I am taking is my herp field guide. Which is going to be a little hard to identify some of these salamanders once I go a little bit farther south. But pretty positive this is a seal. Always cool to see. I did see a little baby southern two-line salamander, which was my lifer, but he's so small I didn't take a video of him. I'm waiting for a bigger one to show you guys. But that is really cool. I'm just going to put him back underneath this rock, and we're going to keep on herping. Next salamander of the day is this really big, I'm assuming it's pregnant female, northern dusky salamander. Pretty cool. These guys are really common up where I live. So definitely not a new species for me, but just to add to the biodiversity list today. So really cool. Just gonna put this girl back underneath her rock and keep on flipping. Next salamander species of the day is this little eastern redback salamander, just flipped underneath a log. Very common species. So I will probably only show you one of these guys. Not a very vibrant one. I've seen a few. I decided not to videotape them, but I figured get one on camera today. But really cool. Just gonna take a photo and let them go. Next salamander of the day is this interesting looking desmog. It's a dusky salamander. Not too sure what it is. It's really red on the back, but I have no idea what species this could be. It's definitely not a seal. I don't think it's a northern, so I've never seen a northern dusky with that pattern before, but I already took some photos of this guy, so I'm just going to leave him alone, and I will definitely just tag the name of this guy once I figure it out in the video. Not a salamander, but there is a snapping turtle, little baby one, and right there is a little baby eastern painted turtle. That's cool. I'm going to take photos of these guys before they crawl away, and we're gonna keep on herping. All right guys, so we switched locations. We are looking for the flat-headed salamander, but this is the first salamander we found. It's a species of slimy salamander, which I'm pretty sure in this region of Virginia is the white-spotted slimy salamander, but that's really cool. I think I've only seen these guys once before, if it is the white-spotted, but I'm gonna take a photo and just release them. All right guys, so next salamander of the day. Pretty sure, I'm not positive because I don't have service to look it up, how to properly identify these guys, but I am pretty sure this is the flat-headed salamander. There he goes. His face is, let me see if I can get him to come out. That face is a little bit different than any of the other duskies that I've seen. Just doesn't look like any of the duskies that I've seen before, and I know this is an area where they see a lot of the flathead salamanders. So I'm pretty sure that it's a flathead. I will obviously put the name tag in once I actually figure out what it is. But that is really cool. If it is one, that would be my second lifer salamander for the day, which is awesome. So I'm gonna get this guy out, take a couple photos, and we're gonna keep on herping. I'm probably gonna switch locations. Just because this was the only salamander species I needed at this particular spot. So we're gonna head a little bit farther south and try to find some more species. So I decided to flip a couple more rocks, and I flipped this bigger one, which has me thinking now, I totally forgot, I'm pretty sure that black-bellied salamanders are in this range. And I flipped this guy over. I probably can't do that on camera, but his belly is in fact black. So I totally forgot about this species. So that first one, I have to ID him. Of course, I forgot my field guide, like I mentioned. but I have to ID these guys later when I have service. But these might actually be the black-bellied salamanders, which is a lifer for me. So either way, I think this is going to be a lifer for me, whatever these salamanders turn out to be. But that's really cool though. Definitely a species, if this is the black-bellied, a species that I've always wanted to see before. But that is really neat. I'm just going to go let him on his way back where his rock was, and I'm probably going to head out of here now. All right, guys, we are at the final location for the day, where there is a lot of new salamander species for me to find here. But this is a northern gray cheek salamander, which is really cool. I've seen the southern gray cheeks before, but not a northern. So this is another lifer for me today, which is awesome. One of the very first things I flipped too, which is a good sign. But there's a few more, I think 3 or 4 salamander species that I can find here that will be more lifers for me. So I'm just going to put this guy back underneath his log, and we're going to keep on searching, and hopefully we can find some more. Next find is another northern gray cheek salamander, just flipped underneath a log, and with him is, hopefully I can get this guy out to show you, a little blue ridge two-line salamander. Just cool. That's my second two-line salamander species of the day. I've seen one of these guys before, so this is not a lifer for myself, but still a cool species. Only second time seeing them, and the first time was in North Carolina, so this one is my first for Virginia. So that's really cool. I'm gonna take photos of both these guys and put them back underneath their log. All right, so next find of the day is this, what I believe is the Blue Ridge dusky salamander, which is a lifer for me. And we are finding salamanders fast today at this spot. Barely made it from the car, and I've been finding all these salamanders. Been finding more of the Blue Ridge two lines. I just haven't shown them to you guys. That is really cool. I think that's what this is the Blue Ridge dusky. Like I said, do not have my field guide to make sure, but I think this is the most common dusky species at this location. And this certainly doesn't look like any other dusky species I've seen before. But I'm gonna take a couple photos and put them back underneath his rock. Next salamander of the day is another black-bellied salamander. This guy's really pretty looking. Got a decent look at that belly, really black. So definitely a black-bellied. I know they're abundant in this particular spot, but that is really cool. So this was another lifer that I got today. So really cool to see these guys at a new location too. But definitely species I've always wanted to see. Really cool species, real chunky. Remind me of the seal salamanders that I see a lot of times back home, but just a little bit darker looking. Really cool. I'm gonna take a photo of this guy and release him back where I found him. Next salamander of the day was, he squiggled off. He's still there in the leaves. What I assume is the Blue Ridge dusky salamander. Just a little bit older one. Cool. Gonna keep on flipping. I think there's only one more species of salamander that I still need to find here. That would be a lifer for me. But cool to see one of these again. Definitely to see a bigger one. So gonna let him go back underneath his log and keep on flipping. All right, so next salamander looks like that first thing I called a dusky salamander, which just popped in my head. I think there actually is, I think they're called the northern pygmy salamanders around here. And I wonder if that's what these guys are. But that'd be cool, because that would be another lifer for me. I think that might be what they are. Like I said, do not have a field guide to look this stuff up. So, you know, I'm just going to have to research this stuff later when I'm editing the video. But that would be really cool if that's what these guys are. But obviously, we'll let you guys know in the name tags. So I'm just going to take a photo and let this guy go. Just found the main target for this location. This is a Yonalassie's salamander. I hope I pronounced that name right. I might have butchered it. But such a cool salamander. This is a salamander that I've been dreaming about seeing ever since I saw them in a field guide for the first time. If I can get this guy back out. But look at the colors on this guy. This guy is so unique. Black head, orange body, black tail. That is one of the coolest looking salamanders I've ever seen before. And they're big too. I mean, that's a relatively big size salamander. But that is really neat. Definitely going to take some photos of this guy. And then we'll just put him back underneath his log. But that is the main target. And I think that's the last salamander species that I needed at this location. So found every species I was looking for at this location, which was awesome. So we actually had some more time today. So we might try for one more. All right, so last species on the target list for today is this Weller's salamander. These guys are really cool species. Species that I've never even heard of until relatively recently. I just never really looked at the species that are found in this area. But really cool. It's almost like a silvery pattern on the back with some black spots mixed in. And we are in a really cool habitat type right now. We're in one of the tallest mountains here in Virginia. And it's really cool spruce forest, really mossy, with just a whole bunch of trees on the ground. But this guy's kind of getting in the way. There we go. But really cool species. I'm going to take probably one or two more photos of this guy and release him back underneath his log. So finally, after a long day, caught this really dull looking eastern garter. He's not much of a looker. Oh, don't bite me, buddy. But just on the way down, I thought this habitat looked good for a smooth green snake, assuming that they are in this range. I'm not too sure, but it definitely looks like a smooth green snake kind of habitat. But we're just downhill from the spot where we just had that salamander. You can see at the top of the hill there. That's where that spruce forest is. But cool to finally see a snake. I can't believe it took me all day to see one. I mean, not that I was particularly targeting snakes today, but you think I would have saw at least one out on the crawl or under one of the rocks that I flipped out of the hundreds of rocks that I flipped today. That is cool. See one of these guys. It's probably a super common species in this area that I imagine. These guys are probably super common in all of their range, but really cool. Just gonna take a shot of this guy real quick and release him back underneath his rock. The very next rock that I flipped is beautiful. Eastern milk was underneath of it. Look at his belly. He's kind of got some pink going on in his belly. But this guy was underneath there and a really big garter was underneath. But I prioritized grabbing this guy in the garter. Slipped away down into one of these rocks. So those rocks are huge, so I'm not even going to attempt to refine that guy. But really cool. This is my first Virginia Eastern milk snake, which is awesome to see one in a different state. Really cool. This is the species I kind of figured would be in this habitat too. It just looks perfect for them. But that's awesome. Love finding milk snakes. Definitely one of my favorite snake species that I have back home to see, and by far one of my favorite snake species to see in general. Really cool. Love them when they have those pink bellies. I've only seen that a few times, but gonna take a shot of this guy and release him back underneath his rock. Next snake is another eastern garter. This one is deep into shed. You can already see his eyes. It's not even really glassed over. It's just like an eye cap that you can tell that is basically unattached from his eye. It's just kind of floating over his eyeball, and his skin feels super loose. So I would not be surprised if this guy sheds his skin maybe even today or tomorrow. That's really cool. Just another eastern garter, so I'm going to take a photo and let him go. Next snake species is this northern ringneck snake, and a really tiny one at that, but really common species. Definitely probably super abundant in this area, in this habitat. But just going to take a photo, release him underneath his rock. Almost back to the car where I parked. So just going to keep driving down this hillside, down the road, and seeing if I can find any more good areas that look good for rock flipping. So I'll let you guys know if I find any more. Hello everyone, today is June the 2nd and we are in northeast Tennessee. First spot of the day, I'm already here. There's a cave just up the hill that I've seen some records of cave salamanders, which would be a lifer for me. So we're gonna walk up that way and see if we can find one. All right guys, so first target of the day, cave salamander. This is a lifer for me. And these guys are gorgeous. This is a species that I've always wanted to see before. And the cool thing about it, I was going to a cave and walked up to it, and it's got this gate across it, so I didn't think we were gonna have much luck. And he's just sitting there in the open at the cave entrance. That is so cool. These guys are gorgeous. They remind me a lot of the long-tailed salamanders that I have back home, but they're a little bit more orange and have a little bit different pattern to them. But what a cool salamander. So I'm gonna take a couple photos of this guy since he's really in a really nice pose right now. And then we are gonna go down to, I think, North Carolina after this and try for some more species.